Intro music.
Come on in.
A star for the ages for Tony Gwynn, number 3,000.
They have acquired Eric Johnson and Fernando Tatis Jr. from the White Sox in exchange for James Shield.
Welcome to Slam Diego.
My name is James.
My name is Joey.
And this is the Brothers Padre.
James, long time no see.
It's been a week and a half, yes.
I know. Hasn't been a lot of Padres stuff happening, so we haven't been podcasting.
No, and we missed our playoff bracket episode.
Yeah.
Well, on the plus side, this is going to be the last podcast we do in this studio.
That's right. I'm changing studios. We've gotten funding, so bigger and better things, James.
Bigger and better garages to move to.
Yeah. Hopefully less crickets, but might be more dogs. We'll see.
We'll see. And apparently chickens now. I don't know.
Chickens don't do chicken stuff at night. That's what Dr. Seuss told me.
Oh, why are we here, Joey?
James, we're here because there's a whole slew of Padres news. And I think we have to start at the top. Obviously, the big one. As of today, the Padres have found a new manager, James. And that new manager is Bob Melvin.
Completely. Nobody predicted this. Out of the blue. In matter of fact, you called me up and you said, have you checked Twitter? I'm like, no. The Padres have picked a new manager. And I just immediately ran down a list of, I saw all 12 names we've been talking about. And you said Bob Melvin. And I didn't even, I had no idea who the person even was because I didn't associate it with any of the names.
Yeah.
But Bob Melvin is widely regarded as one of the best active managers in baseball right now.
Yeah. 3 times manager of the year. Was one of the longest tenured managers in baseball. He was with the Athletics for a long time. Got them to many playoff runs with zero money. Very, like you said, is well regarded. It's incredible in-game decision making. People love him. It really is this is the best. If we made that, how many episodes ago did we make that? Did we go over that list? I don't know, 3 episodes ago.
Yeah.
And if you would have had Bob Melvin on the list, he's the number one.
Yeah, he is everyone's number one.
Right. It's awesome, man. I mean,
if the Yankees would have known he was going to be available, they wouldn't have re-signed Aaron Boone.
Right.
That's 100% fact.
I think this. I'm going to talk about the other 2 moves because I think it all relates to it as well. But what other thoughts do you have about this? What other things are you thinking about this before we talk about the other 2 associated moves with this?
If you would have made a list of the top 10 dream team picks currently managing in baseball to manage the Padres, he would have been number 1 or number 2.
Yeah.
Easily. It would have been him or, and now his name escapes me, the manager of the, why can't I remember the Rays manager?
Kevin Cash.
Kevin Cash. He even has a cool name. You know what his problem is? He sounds like he should be a country music singer.
Yes, true.
As I smack the mic. Anyways.
We're a little rusty, dog. It's been a week and a half.
Yes.
The Padres also signed Rob Marcello to be the head of pitching development. And he's a former AAA coach from AAA pitching coach for the Mariners, also well-regarded pitching development coach. And the big one is we signed assistant pitching coach of the Indians/Guardians now to be our pitching coach, Ruben. I looked up the name too. I looked it up because I want to call him Kneefield. I have no idea why I want to call him Kneefield. Ruben Niebla is his name. Sorry, Ruben. Come on our podcast.
Come on our podcast. We already are fans of yours.
People consider him one of the formative people why the Indians pitching staff has been so good is because of Ruben's work. These 3 moves are so not what I expected. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I was expecting lots of Rangers.
Lots of Rangers. Like the fact that Melvin hasn't even been associated with the Texas Rangers is so out of left field.
I was very surprised. This is exactly what we said the organization needed to start doing, right? They needed to start bringing in people that were super, super analytics heavy, super innovative, and really great at in-game decision making based upon data they get. And all three of those people seem to be those kind of people.
Yes, and Melvin was a part of the A's that invented this whole scenario.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The Melvin thing is a little sad, too, though, from a little side note. He was signed till 2022, but the A's gave him permission to just to interview for the Padres. And what that means is there's going to be a fire sale.
Oh yeah, so that's it. I told you before we started this. I had a theory I wanted to pass by you.
Okay.
So the theory is,
Yeah, I'm ready.
the Oakland Athletics. This is the start of their true fire sale, and jumping the manager who didn't have that big of a payroll. So everyone suspected the Athletics might do this. Cut their entire budget completely to bare minimum, rebuild with all prospects because the Oakland Athletics want to be the Las Vegas Athletics in 2 years. And if they save money, and so in 2 years they'll start trading people and have, this is such a Billy Bean thing to do. All of a sudden they'll have a bigger budget to get a winning team up in 2 years and when they're in the Las Vegas Athletics. So here's my question for you, Joseph.
Okay, I'm ready.
What prospects would you be willing to trade for Matt Olson?
I thought the first base position was locked down.
If somehow we could trade old Hosey to the Athletics and basically pay for most of his contract, and they only have to give him
Real David Justice situation.
Give him pay for 90% of his contract, and they give us Matt Olson, and we give him 2 prospects. What prospects would you give up?
I mean, the Athletics, so you can give them some 50 below player, some like 50 to 100 ranked player, and they'll become good players. Like,
yeah, I was thinking at best a Jason Mears or a Robert Hassel III.
right? Yeah, I don't think Hassel. I think Hassel and now Abrams are completely hugged by Preller. I don't think, unless I could be wrong. Depends on how much. It just depends.
Well, my thing is, so now that we have their manager,
Yeah.
a lot of Athletics with no trade clauses,
Right.
like a Matt Olson, might want to come over to our team now.
Yeah, I mean, people love Bob Melvin. People really love the guy. Like, people say it's like one of the most brilliant baseball minds. Like, you don't win you don't win the Major League Baseball Manager of the Year 3 times because you're garbage.
I remember when he won it the first time in 2007 for the when he was the manager of the Diamondbacks. That Diamondbacks team was more or less terrible, and he just managed them very well. And I remember when they came out, it was like I think he almost won unanimously. Like, he's definitely going to win Manager of the Year, and he's then won it 2 more times with the Athletics. It's insane. It's
like a scene. Are you familiar with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, James?
I've heard of it.
Are you familiar with the character named Iron Man?
Now, he is the old alcoholic that builds a suit, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. It feels like in the first of his films, Iron Man 1, when the villain of what's the villain's name in that movie? Jeff Daniels' character?
Not Jeff Daniels, it's Jeff Bridges.
Are you sure it's not Jeff Daniels?
I'm pretty sure it's Jeff Bridges. It was the
Jeff
dude.
Bridges says Iron Man built this suit with a box of scraps. And that's Bob Melvin with the Oakland Athletics. It's like, he won a lot with a box of scraps. Like, that's kind of it, right? Like, he's won a lot with not a lot. Because the Athletics hate spending money. And Bob Melvin has steered them well. And now he goes to a team that has $160 million more in payroll. Maybe less if they trade Hosmer, Who knows? Who knows?
Well, that's what I was saying. That's why I wanted to ask you. Who would you trade? And there's so many other athletics to pick from. Number 55, Sean
Manaea?
Sean Manaea, yeah.
Sean Manaea. If it's going to be a true fire sale, Sean Manaea is going to be like the guy that's going to get the most stuff. I really think so.
And why wouldn't Sean Manaea why wouldn't he want to come to play for San Diego, the team where his idol Junior Seau, the same city Junior Seau played in?
We never confirmed that. We assume he is same number,
same island. He's from
we just assume. We assume. We don't know. Come on our podcast, Sean Manaea. Answer this question.
This is important. If anyone knows Sean Manaea, and we know there's plenty of people out there that do.
Yeah.
Or obviously he might even be a listener.
Yeah. Right.
Contact us. We want to know.
I think I'm pretty surprised that these are the moves Preller made. Right? Like, it's pretty surprising.
This is very surprising.
I was expecting, just to sequence the events a little bit. Beginning of this season, you and I watched the opening game together, and we're nervous as heck. And we're like, oh man, we had to win that game to prove to us we actually are good. Fast forward to the end of the season, we're not very good at all, right? And we're like, what's happening? And then the narrative comes, Preller is way too controlling, right? And that could still be true, I guess. But like, he has his guys, he has his vision, he only hires Rangers. Like, all of a sudden it's like, this is something we can never get out of. We're stuck in this. We're going to get Jace Tingler 2.0 again. Like, that's kind of been like the narrative. Is that fair? Like,
that's been the fear. Absolutely.
And it's like, we're going to get someone like him. And then he hires these guys like Ruben Niebla. Not Niefield.
To be fair, Niefield is a better last name. Might want to think about changing it, Ruben.
Yeah, he's the pride of Calexico. Ruben Niebla. He's from Calexico. He wanted to come back to Southern California. It's a perfect fit.
Yeah.
He was hired before the manager was, and everyone's like, this seems like Preller said he wanted manager input, and everyone's like, yeah, but he's kind of the reason why all Cleveland pitchers are good. So go, and like the new manager has to be okay with that level of thinking. Cal Quantrill, Logan Allen, both former Padres, both said when they went over there, the guy that made them better was Ruben. He was the guy. He and everyone says that he is a huge part of that world, of that culture of pitching in Cleveland that makes great pitchers. So that's great. And we're like, great, Preller actually got something. And then in this Bob Melvin thing, he's such a good manager.
He really is.
Like, it's bananas. I was expecting, like, all respect to Ozzie Guillen. All respect. Like, I love Ozzie Guillen. We have lots of cards of Ozzie Guillen. I was expecting, like, Ozzie Guillen to roll up to a press conference with a Bloody Mary and just introduce himself to San Diego, right? I just thought that, like, because that's the kind of guy that, like, for whatever reason, that or some young guy, that some Tingler 2.0. And I don't know, I'm just surprised that he really did look inward and hire against kind of what he's hired for a long time, right?
Yeah, he's hired not only a manager with experience,
right,
manager with a lot of experience. And the thing is, if you would have asked me this morning, I would have said I was 90% certain Ron Washington was going to be our manager.
Yeah. Ozzie Guillen always had an outside chance. So the idea of Ozzie Guillen being our manager was always a funny idea.
Yeah, it was. It's true. The other 10% would have been some rookie. We would have gotten, not that they would have been bad. We would have probably gotten a first-time manager like a Phil Nevin or a Mark Kotze, and we would have had somebody like that. We would have had our own Aaron Boone situation. And that was always like, hey, no, my 100% work, and I was going to have to live with that. But short of Ron Washington, I would put Melvin as a better manager than Ron Washington. He has a better
100%,
record.
100%. It's just, baseball Twitter kind of blew up. Not just Padres Twitter. Baseball Twitter was like, this is insane. Like, this is something no one expected. He obviously only interviewed, it seems like only for the Padres.
Yeah.
It's not the only manager position open, right?
Yeah, I know.
The Mets is a dumpster fire. That situation is gnarly. As a side note, like, they can't get anyone to interview with their GM position because GMs don't want to work for them. That's nuts. There are only 30 jobs available in the whole world for that position, and one of them is open and no one wants it.
Well, didn't the last GM get fired?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a weird situation.
Yeah, you can't do that. What he did.
No.
And that means there's a whole like
bad vibe.
Vibes. Yeah, they've got to like throw everything away. Get some like herbs and burn them and sage and clean out all the bad spirits. Like, okay, we're healthy now.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I thought that my Padres were like that a little bit, but people want to play for us,
and the thing
want
is,
to work for us too.
The thing that blows my mind about this whole situation is AJ Preller has listened to our critiques.
Oh yeah, big,
and was like,
listen to this podcast and you and I specific critiques.
Yeah, we both said you got to change this. You got to change things up. What you've been doing isn't right, and clearly hasn't working. And he clearly isn't. He got people that aren't Rangers, that are experienced, that have worth in baseball.
Yeah, and
he's gutting everything out that the old way and bringing in new people in to do it. And so it's going to be really fascinating to see. I mean, next season, I am as excited as this manager as I was when I heard we got Blake Snell and Yu Darvish.
Oh, I mean, I'll tell you one thing: there won't be 16-inning games where Jake Cronenworth gets walked 3 times intentionally in extra innings. Because Bob Melvin will know the rules.
And know how to plan a lineup. That is true. That is true. I was gonna. I mean, you know what Bob Melvin wouldn't do?
What?
Bob Melvin wouldn't have Yu Darvish or Blake Snell close a game in the playoffs to burn that person's arm out.
Let's move. Let's have some playoff talk. But let's button this up real fast.
Basically, Dave Roberts is overrated and Bob Melvin's better.
Yeah.
Dodgers suck.
Yeah.
Yay!
We'll talk about that in a second. I want some playoff talk too. But I have the same feeling I did last offseason. So James, you're my therapist for today. Okay.
Much like last season.
How do you tell me the same thing will happen? What can you tell me to make me feel better to go into next season? Because same thing happened. We have all these changes, and I can hype myself up, right? And maybe I should, but like, is this much different? Is this substantially different? And if it isn't, what would make it substantially different so that we can be optimistic about next year?
What makes it substantially different is that the people up on top have noticed the mistakes that are being made and are fixing it. And they're trying to work with everybody. And the thing is that also I've noticed they've kept, as of right now, they've kept Tingler, and he might be somebody in the front office who's worked with the team and can be there as another advanced scout, because that's what he got started at, was a scout, and help turn over the reins probably better. I think what we can take away is, even if the Padres don't get any new players they're doing this offseason, we still have a really great team, and it's going to get better with all those injured pitchers coming back. And maybe if we have a different pitching coach that knows how to use the pitchers properly, maybe not a lot of them will get hurt this year. And maybe he'll different pitch mix and different be able to break up their pitches and be able to manage them better. If nothing else changes but we're hiring a whole new coaching staff, manager, and support staff. 50% of the problem the Padres had last year is solved.
Yeah,
And I think,
agree with that. Yeah.
And the other side would be injuries and players not giving up to their potential, but that could also be
coaching
and stuff like that. So as of right now, like I said, I'm as excited about these moves as I am about when that day that we got Snell and Darvish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see the hitting coach. I'm excited to see how they fill all of that out. I'm excited to see. I don't think I'm be very surprised if come next end of March that it's the same roster. I think the pitching is pretty locked in. I think we're gonna find some people that are gonna become relief pitchers and starters. But I think, like you said, the other 50% is the players, and like I think I'm ready to be full hyped once there's more offense turnover. Like
yes,
position players start, but we get better position.
And the other
players.
thing is that could lead to, because how many times do we talk about that? They're pitching Will Myers exactly the same, and he's swinging exactly the same. He's not making adjustments, and for some reason, and neither was a lot of people that was able to make adjustments was Tatis and Machado, and they knew how to pitch to Hosmer. Somebody's on base, they knew how to throw to him, and
throw now to horrible pitches in the dirt. He'll swing at all of them.
Exactly, just bounce it, roll it to him, and he'll swing at it. And maybe even Hosmer can turn around if he had different coaching stuff.
I was thinking with this, Ned Yost was his manager for the Royals.
Yes.
Like Ned Yost and Bob Melvin are the same person, right? Like spirit-wise. Right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, they're like baseball people, right? And maybe Hosmer's like, oh, he's a baseball guy. And maybe he's like, oh, okay, I'll play for this guy. Maybe.
And maybe he can learn to, I don't know, you figure out what his gloves for again.
Oh my gosh!
Because I can handle the bad hitting because he could get some hits,
right?
But it's the bad hitting and the bad defense, like that.
Yeah, watching Freddie Freeman play in the playoffs, I'm like, Hosmer, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yes, let's compete. Let's compare anybody to Freddie Freeman, the best first baseman in baseball. That's not really fair.
Okay, that's fair, but still, I would like if Freddie Freeman was a Padre. There, I said
it. Who wouldn't? But Freddie Freeman's going to sign some big deal with. They're going to sign him a 10-year contract.
Oh, they have to.
Yeah.
Okay, Jamie. Any other thoughts about that before we move on to the playoffs?
Nope. Just super excited.
Yeah, playoffs. Yeah, we didn't recap the last series, the league championship series. Complete bracket buster. Neither one of us have any teams at this point.
Yep. That's how baseball rolls.
Houston Astros defeated the Boston Red Sox. And I said that it would be that Rays would beat the Astros. That did not happen. The Braves, who are now the team of destiny, the darlings of the playoffs, beat the big mighty Los Angeles Dodgers and moved on to the World Series. And now it's 2 games have already happened in the World Series. This is the off day. It's split 1-1. What are your thoughts about all that, James? Any thoughts about the bracket and the playoffs, any of that?
Astros and the Rays were always going to be a close series because they're 2 of the best teams in the AL.
But it was Astros Red Sox. Though.
Astros Red Sox, that's right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah.
And I really wanted the Red Sox to win. But again, the Houston Cheaters, they're a good team.
That lineup is gross. So gross.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just like, back Carlos Correa 6th. Okay.
Yeah, okay. You do that.
Okay. It's bananas, dude.
Honestly, the 2 best lineups towards the end of the season were the Braves and the Astros. The Braves have traded for one of the best lineups in baseball. Adam Duvall led the league in RBIs, and he's batting 6th for the Braves. So they're both crazy good teams. I hate the Astros because of everything previously mentioned. So I was disappointed they beat the Red Sox, but the Red Sox aren't as good of a team. They just aren't.
They definitely have like glaring holes in their bullpen, and I feel like their offense wasn't as good as any of the teams in the playoffs.
And I think for when it came to the NL, the Dodgers just got cocky. They assumed they could beat the Braves.
Yeah.
And they did not expect the Braves to come out and mash the way they did.
You made a joke about dead arm and the Dodgers being tired and overusing their pitchers. And the Dodgers do this every single postseason. I was thinking, someone mentioned this, is like, Clayton Kershaw's legacy in the postseason is mostly attributed to bad short rest starts.
Yeah.
So when he pitches with normal rest in the postseason, he has a sub 2 ERA. When he pitches on a short rest, it's like 4 to 5. And like, maybe that's a sign, guys. Like, and the Dodgers do this all the time. So what happened is, if you guys didn't follow, it was Game 5 of the division series, and Dave Roberts I want Max Scherzer to close out this game, this 2-1 close game. So he brings Max Scherzer in, who's a starting pitcher, to close the game. And on his bullpen game, it's like throw day, he's just going to throw real pitches.
And he was scheduled to throw real pitches after the game anyways.
Right.
But there is a difference between pitching a throw day where you throw you can't see the quotes, real pitches opposed to real pitches. All you have to do is look at Max Scherzer's face when he's in a ball game. You can't tell me when he's at practice day, he looks like he wants to eat somebody.
Yeah. And so, got himself literally said he got dead arm afterwards, so he didn't pitch well. And then they started to be cute with the opener and Julio Urias. And so they started doing that where like they're going to be tricky. And there's one Dodger fan I follow. He's like, we literally had the
Why?
best. Yeah.
Why would you follow somebody with no soul?
It is interesting. Now, I'm not going to mention this person's name, but this person has a level-headed take on the Dodgers. And I know that's a lot to take in. That's why I'm not giving them the benefit of clout by mentioning their name.
Okay.
So this person was like, we had the best bullpen in baseball, but and normally the Dodgers have an incredible bullpen, but when it comes to the postseason, they always forget how to use them. And instead, they just play cute with all their starting pitching. And like, why is that? And for because someone said this is what the Rays did when Andrew Friedman was with the Rays. The head of baseball operations, the Dodgers, was from the Rays, and this is a normal Rays thing to do. You put your best pitcher in the most crucial situation.
But the Rays never had Kylie Jensen, Joe Kelly, and that other guy,
Blake Treinen.
Yeah, Treinen in their bullpen.
Yeah.
So it's stupid. And
they should have like what the Braves are doing, the Dodgers should have done. The Braves are literally march out the same three guys every night and just like, here's your job. You're a relief pitcher. Like,
these are our best relievers.
Yeah, right.
Have fun.
Yeah.
And the thing is with that, what blows my mind is they said they voted on it. There was a committee.
It's so weird.
So Dave Roberts said, yeah, the
powers that be
to vote on whether a Urias was going to start or not. They voted on it. Like, well, let's have a weird bullpen day. And their decision to bring him in, the Scherzer, the last game, he would have been on regular days rest on the game 6, the game they lost. But instead, they brought Walker Buehler in on a short day, and Walker Buehler was not sharp because of that reason. And the Braves took full advantage of that because the Braves are a great team. And the Dodgers, I think they just got cocky. They thought they were going to be able to run over the Braves because the Braves only had 88 wins, and they were just going to run them over and get to the World Series again. And they were going to have all of their relievers fresh and their starters ready to go, and they didn't. They played themselves out of the playoffs, and it's so great to say the LA Chokers are back.
Yeah.
It proves more and more that last year was a fluke, and last year was definitely, I mean, everything going on. Yes, the World Series still counts, but not really. It was a half. It was a third of a season, and the Dodgers were fresher. And I'm sorry, they choked themselves out of the World Series again, and it is so awesome to see. Dodgers sucks. LA stinks.
Yeah. The story of this postseason has been offense.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, I feel like most postseasons, it's like the Nationals when they won, it was like, yeah, they have Scherzer, Corbin, Anibal Sanchez, Steven Strasburg. And they're just mowing teams down. And this postseason is like, see the Braves? You see the Astros? They're just going to mash their way into any game win, right? Dodgers didn't mash. Dodgers, like, Trey Turner was awful. Mookie Betts was bad. Right? And so the only people, and then the Braves were like, no, we have this guy, Eddie Rosario, and he's suddenly Babe Ruth. Like, it's suddenly, like, incredible.
Yeah. He only get more hits in the postseason than anyone ever has. Yeah.
And he was just traded for Pablo Sandoval. Like, there's some funny business with that trade. Some real funny business. It's been a fun playoffs because of the amount of offense, and that teams have been so good at offense.
Yes.
Who's the best pitcher between the Astros and the Braves right now? Framber Valdez, I guess, on the Astros. I would have said Max Fried, but he had a horrible outing yesterday.
He did. And unfortunately they had to keep him in there because they used all the bullpen.
And it's the right move. Like, you're up by 1, and you're gonna go home for 3 games. It was the right move. You should let him.
And Charlie Morton broke his leg. Yeah. Let's not forget Charlie Morton broke his leg.
Yeah.
And still
Charlie Morton was the best pitcher in the World Series.
For
either team. And now it might be some real high scoring games, because there's not really good pitching anymore.
There is not, no. All of the Astros look spent. And the Braves have a good bullpen, but they'll probably win the first 2 games in Atlanta because the bullpen's rested. But I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I think the Braves will probably take it in 5 or 6.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun.
Yeah. The Braves have an advantage is that the Astros' best hitter is a DH, so he'll rarely be around.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That guy's scary.
He really is.
Yordan Alvarez is a scary man. He's a big, huge guy, and he has like the most like simplistic swing that just generates like atomic bombs. It's just crazy. Dude.
Yeah, he's a scary dude. He really is. He's like double Frank Thomas.
You know who he reminds me? He reminds me of like a lefty Frank Thomas mixed with a Mo Vaughn. His presence in the box.
Oh yeah.
It's like this guy can just not because it's like Mo Vaughn had a way weirder stance, but like, he had that presence in the box. Like, this guy, if he makes one piece of good contact, he's gonna
hit it a mile and a half. That is true. Mo Vaughn. Haven't thought that guy in a while, but yeah, that was the same thing. He would hit 230 a year, but whenever he did hit, it would go to the moon. It would be a moonshot.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. So it's interesting because they're down their best hitter, and also the Astros starting pitching is taxed.
I don't think it's good. It's not. I mean, it's just not as like it's just as good as the Braves.
Yes.
And so in some way it gives an advantage to the Braves because one less powerful hitter, home ballpark. I think the Braves still have the advantage. I still think the Braves actually win. I think they have
I do too. I think they have a better shot.
Yeah.
And they haven't lost a single game in Atlanta this postseason.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be fun. Be fun to see. I mean, not my Padres, so it's much easier to watch because I'm not like an anxiety-ridden mess watching it. I'll go and like do something and come back sometimes. You know? And so that's been fun. It's fun to see the team of destiny, 88 wins. Like, yeah, why not them? Come on,
they deserve it. Freddie Freeman deserves it.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman is just auditioning for his future boss, Bob Melvin. Hey, Bob, look at me. I can field grounders. I can hit bombs.
I guarantee you, if the Atlanta Braves come out at the end of the World Series, win or lose, and say, listen, the only way we can keep Freddie Freeman is if we have a 2% income tax on everybody in Atlanta. Everyone will say yes. Atlanta is keeping Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman wants to stay in Atlanta. It is a wonderful dream to think Freddie Freeman will go to another team. He's not.
Yeah.
He is going to. They're already measuring him for the statue.
Okay. Whatever.
They're going to put his number right next to his idol and mentor, Chipper Jones.
Yeah, that's true. It's true, I guess. And one more funny fact before we end. John Smoltz has
no hair?
Has no hair. That's true. Where does that go? Basically, every World Series since he's retired has had a teammate of his. Charlie Morton and him played on the same team in the Braves.
That's true. Charlie Morton.
So he's literally had a teammate at every World Series
since he retired.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
That is wild. Interesting, fun fact.
That's a fun fact. That's a good Jeopardy question.
That is a good, yeah. So the real question is, who does the Padres have that played with
John Smoltz? John
Smoltz. Our oldest player is Old Man Stammen. That would have to be it, right?
He was a starter for the Nationals. I don't think so, because it had to be. He's the oldest one, right?
Yeah,
he's the oldest one.
We need a trade for Charlie Morton.
Yeah, he got an extension though. He got a big fat.
He did, because he's still a really good pitcher at 37.
Yeah. Like when people say that Adam Wayne, right? It's good. I'm like, no. You want to age gracefully? Look at Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton's the guy.
Charlie Morton and Max Scherzer, they're aging gracefully.
James, it's been fun. Let's do this more often.
Yeah.
We'll do it more often.
To be fair, that the last week we had 3 episodes in 1 week.
That's true.
And then we took a week and a half off because somebody's moving. Getting a bigger place for his family.
It's the new podcast studio. It takes a while to move over. All of the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm taking the small box with me when I leave.
Yeah. We'll have lots of more off-season content. Next time we'll hear from us will be, I don't know what other Padre news we'll have.
If there's no other crazy Padre news... Like we'll trade for a certain Olsen.
We drop a certain first baseman.
We
sign a certain corner outfielder.
Yeah, all these have to happen. But we'll wrap up the World Series.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time, James.
And as always, we'll have plenty of content during the off season.
As always, we've never had an off season.
You have to instill confidence, Joseph.
Didn't we start in December? When did we start this podcast? In January?
January.
So we've had a little bit of off season.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I stand corrected.
Yeah. Although you're sitting. Stand up. Don't. They really stood up. All right. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna have some funny, zany things to talk about, and
yeah,
it's gonna be a fun off-season.
Every podcast app. We're on Spotify. You know where to find us. We're on YouTube. Thank you so much for your continued listenership, James. And until next time, James, go Padres.
Go Padres.
And there it is. Ho-ho, doctor! You can hang a star on that, baby.